I want to run you through a couple of these models that we built out here, and kind of show you what we think is going to be the amplification of the um, different types of structures. So again, our goal is always this long-term brand presence with a loyal, engaged, repeat following of customers, right? Want to set this target sales revenue and really chase scale, and that's really the goal of direct to consumer. Why it's so exciting. So again, crawl, walk, run program. Start with the affiliate program. Least risk, highest reward. We can always go, quote unquote, go viral. This is the system that we built in China. This is done by hand, manual outreach, right? We're going to reach out to 500 influencers, have 350 conversations, shortlist 100, and try to close deals with 50 of them. And that's what we do with that, set that initial foundation. The automated email marketing, this is our trapeze net. This lets us really be confident that we're getting all the value we can out of all this traffic, and that's that value there. Is that we're setting up this compounding interest system, right? It's just going to run in the background. Everybody that we send into these different funnels, it's going to go through this process, and we'll have numbers, and we'll know how much value we're able to get from each source of traffic. And the more we do this over time, the more we can refine this and understand exactly who those perfect customers are for each product. Then finally, once we feel like we know that, programmatic marketing kicks in, and we really accelerate the whole process. Right now that we've got our affiliates onboarded and we know we tested our demographic theories, then we have our safety net under our trapeze artists here with our compounding interest system, with our automated email marketing. That's when we start amplifying things and scaling up. SEO is always should be the constant presence. I know it's a tough pill to swallow until we're getting traction, but SEO and backlinking, I'll show you in some of these models that the compounding interest of that in the future, especially when the market isn't very competitive, it will be through the roof, right? That stuff is worth gold, but it's going to take you a year to get there. Again, crawl, walk, run strategy, leverage influencers, affiliates. Okay, blah, blah, blah. We talked about all this. Shipping and fulfillment costs. We talked about this as well. Payment processor. Tough pill to swallow, but very difficult to do otherwise. Okay, so what we did with these 4 programs, we try to mix and match, right? We have the core program, the core strategy, crawl, walk, run. We can change the order, scale it up, but again, we're trying to make this a slow dip your toe in and scale up as easily as possible. So we have the core program, things that are absolutely necessary. Have to have an e-commerce site, have to have a payment process set up, have to have a 3PL, have to have an affiliate database built. Again, it's just here we're talking about how long's a piece of string. How good do we want to have this? Does it look a little odd if they look for a website we don't have one? Yes. Same thing with SEO, right? We're just not getting these benefits, but I understand. So this core basic, so we did a very basic core program. We did a core-ish pro startup, and then a higher, a medium level speed on the crawl, walk, run program. We did a lower end setup and a higher end focus on a sped up version of the crawl, adding some SEO, adding some backlinking, adding some SCRM to kind of show you what those long term benefits are going to be. And then finally, we did an all in program to kind of show you what it looks like with all systems go and what that compounding value is going to look like after 2 years. So, calling the first one here the cautious program. This is what this is going to look like. So keeping that initial investment low, slow and steady wins the race. Nothing super glamorous here. I'm trying to keep the revenue numbers in general to 6 to 8 month chunks, just so we can kind of get a general idea of what this looks like. So this is going to be quite a bit more volatile, but it is what it is. This spike here in the beginning represents the launch. We tend to drive quite a bit more, of course, quite a bit more revenue during this launch period. In order to get that revenue, we'll probably have to buy traffic. So what this doesn't have on it is what that compensation is going to look like for influencers, and as well as our profit share. But just kind of get you an idea of what we'll be doing in terms of driving revenue. But this, again, all of that other stuff is coming out of profit. So that's something to keep in mind. This is kind of the cost of having a very low risk business, is we are going to have to share that piece of that pie. So again, starting off with the minimal we can do to get you going there. What was it, about 3,300. USD, and then going into a very slow and steady. So this is 16 months of minimum spend. So we're, doubling that, 2.5 times that in terms of revenue. Should still be profitable. Um, and then getting into this programmatic marketing towards the end. This is where we should see a significant amplification, right? So testing the waters, testing the demographics, slow and steady, super safe, break even, pushing it a little bit, really starting to dial in and gain the profitability from the email marketing system. I mean, that's going to end up driving 20-25% of total revenue. It won't be that right away, probably not until the end of the second year here. But it doesn't cost any money, right? It costs money to monitor, but this is all run by a software. So again, low risk, low reward. But even in that structure, by this time, we should know, exactly who we're targeting. So with this little bump, we're going to see a good spike in terms of revenue, right? Because we are going after paid traffic at this point. All right, so the next one is the confident approach. So the confident approach takes kind of the medium setup. So we're at about $5,000, 4,800 in the medium style setup. Foundational website, a little bit of SEO, SCRM setup, website. So kind of the basic. Sorry, this one's not in this program. This is just a medium version of the setup. We'll go over the details of it. So this bumps that spend up. This is the standard setup or medium setup, 4,800. And that next level up, that medium level of speed. So this would be 4,000 a month for that same time period, the first 16 months. 4,000 a month for the service plan, and then SCRM starting. When does this start? 14 months. So that would be about the 10-month period. So we start doing the SCRM that lets us gather more data so that we can more effectively run these email marketing campaigns. So we are going to see a nice bump there. And then also starting to do SEO for that second half of the year. So you can see that spend kind of bumps up. We're revving the engine a little bit. It's going up gradually. It's not that flat, super safe revenue or expenditure that we're using in the cautious approach. So it's a little more revenue driven. Really bump it up here after that first year, right? So it survive and thrive in the first 12 months here, and really kind of get a toehold, and then really start scaling it up once we're confident, and that's kind of why I named it confidence. So there you go. All right. Next, the third one. This is the aggressive one. So the aggressive start, you can see here we're at about 8,800. So we're kind of doubling this one. This is a big step up, including a website, including foundational SEO, including an SCRM, so that we're gathering all this data at the very beginning, right? And again, if we have the stomach for it, this is going to be what shows off those big hockey stick growth curves towards the end, towards the second year, because we're gathering that data and we're collecting and processing it in a much more efficient way. So with the aggressive pitch here, we're taking, we're doing a more aggressive setup in that foundation, right? So you see a big chunk of big expenditure here. We're at almost 9,000 a month. We do back it off in terms of the aggressiveness towards building that program, but we are supplementing that with SEO starting after the first 8 months, a backlinking program starting here at the end of year one, and an SCRM starting here at year one. So, aggressively build that foundation, try to get through this, first year at kind of break-even level, maybe a little bit above, and then really start scaling it up here. We should see a nice bump through that first 6 to 8 months. That's when that SEO, even though the SEO is starting a little bit earlier, we'll have that foundational SEO program going as well. We can sprinkle a lot about on earlier. So the benefit there is we're mixing this affiliate traffic with organic traffic. And the organic traffic, the other benefit of the SEO is going to give us numbers and data that we can use to make our affiliate program stronger, make our email marketing program stronger. All of that data feeds into that, and all of that data really gets amplified here once we start having the organic traffic and then going into paid traffic as well. So that's why you're seeing this big jump towards the end of this. So this is, can you stomach that initial investment? Can we be efficient and effective for the first little bit and then really start ramping things up aggressively once we know we've got something here? All right, so then what it looks like when with the all-in program here. So this is aggressive initial build. So website SEO, backlinking program, SCRM, about $15,000 initially, and then a much more aggressive program. Well, it's not the full-on aggressive. This is just the medium. So we're going right away pretty much with SEO, SCRM from the get-go, backlinking after the first 8 months, going at the $4,000 a month limit for the first 16 months, and then bumping up to the $5,000 a month limit once we get into programmatic marketing. So the initial investment is significant, and then it's slow and steady after that, and then slow and steady, but in everything. And this is where we should see the biggest growth, right? So of course, and again, I'm not trying to sell you on this. I don't mind doing it at a lower level because we know with a strong build here, we're going to capture this value towards the end. That's really where we get paid back. So, you know, this does take a lot of force, a lot of management, a lot of organization. But again, we're just running that same system. We're very confident in this system now. It just takes time, right? Again, there's nothing fancy about the affiliate influencer marketing. I lived in Asia for 13 years. I've run programs like this for 5 years. I understand the cultural nuances quite a bit. It's not to say that Japan is exactly the same as China and Hong Kong, blah, 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 but it's much more similar than the US and Europe. So again, this is what we can talk about the numbers specifically here. But you can see the numbers in here specifically, and we can run through and calculate profit and make sure that everything kind of lines up and makes sense. But this is what I think we'll be targeting here with this kind of holistic approach. So again, we can do it very cautiously, but let's just not expect what do they say, caviar dreams on a Bud Light budget. If that makes any sense. But anyway, it's late here. I'm going to go to bed, but I want to get this to you before the meeting so you have time to review it. Hopefully, we go over some questions there and figure out how to get this thing rolling. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.